Rolling.
Renegades.
Antra and I had this big idea. Mind-blowing.
I had to have the people who didn't believe in me.
Between one day and the next, everything changed.
Nurses know how to solve shit.
Renegades. Okay, rolling. Or I really got to get one of those clapper things.
You know.
All right. Welcome to the season 2 speed review. Because Antra and I, if we reviewed every podcast from season 2, each review would be as long as a podcast. So we decided we were going to play a game, and then we failed miserably at playing our game of trying to describe each podcast in one word or phrase. So we're going to still try that, but then we're going to elaborate because we can't help ourselves. So I'll go first. I'll give you the name. I'll say the name and the guest, and you give me your one word or phrase. Ready?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Go. Okay. Hello, Harmony with Chris Racinos. How one of today's unconventional nursing leaders discovered the true definition of success.
How to love yourself.
Ooh. Leader forged through loss.
Good one. All right. Brendan Vermeyer. Alphabet Swamp. Understanding medical paradigms and the values of experiential learning over credentials. To say it.
One word. Hot. But really easy on the brain, easy on the ears, easy on the eyes.
He's just so wickedly smart, and he just forged his own way. So I
Is that a phrase? See, if we were playing by points, you would have gotten docked negative.
Yeah.
But
forged his own way.
Yeah. I mean, he just proves you have a passion for something and learn everything you can about it. You are unstoppable. Alan Plunkett, Burning the Boats, Overcoming the Fear of Failing Your Way to Success.
He's genuinely nicest and most of service guy I know on LinkedIn.
Made me excited to fail.
Leanne Saffer, defining FINE, the essential first step in planning patient treatment.
Process altering, because she completely changed the way I will approach every client, because I will add another step in the beginning and really get to what is their definition of success, because she got treatment based on everybody else's definition of success. And if she could go back and do it over, she would have asked herself that first.
She changed my clinical practice too. It was a really powerful podcast. I think every nurse should listen to her podcast.
I mean, sometimes our patients are where we get important education.
Nicole Noner, OT literacy. What nurses need to know about the essential role of occupational therapy.
Be the solution.
I like this one for OT literacy. Literally, no real clue. Worked in a hospital most of my life. OT, that sounds good. Like really instructional for nursing. Like this is what we do. And she's a trailblazer because she's young and she decided there was a problem and she went out and she fixed it.
I think the reason that we don't know more about occupational therapy and the role, and it's so underutilized, is because people don't know how essential it is from admission to discharge and beyond. And the earlier you start it, the less debilitated people get. And I learned so much from her. Amber Moore, formidable, navigating nursing with your moral compass for clarity, discernment, and the courage to be disliked.
So if I had to pick, 3 nurses who really had an impact on me, she would be right up there at the top. She's a freaking badass nurse. And when I worked with her, you knew that patient was going to get the best care because she didn't take shit from anybody.
Yeah. And for any nurse, this is a really important podcast, because for any nurse who struggles with the fear of the hierarchy in the hospital, or a doctor or a coworker, or somebody not liking them if they do the right thing, she puts you up against your moral compass. As far as discernment goes, like, I don't know what to do here, she makes it a no-brainer. Ryan Mason, Achieve Able. Ableism awareness from an RN who discovered that human potential doesn't care how you move.
this girl is nothing but courage and strength. And people say I can't, and I'm going to anyways. And by the way, I didn't know anything about ableism really, which is embarrassing to say.
I had no idea how ableist I was. And it's so important. And by the way, after this podcast, everybody, we're like, this needs to be basic 101 curriculum for anybody working in a hospital. Mortifyingly enlightening. Yeah.
Carol McMakin, what's your frequency? This is my favorite title in the whole thing. The miracle of frequency, specific microcurrents in the treatment of chronic everything. I love this title.
Cotton candy for your brain. My other phrase is, why doesn't everybody know about this?
Right.
It was one of those things.
You should have seen Karen's face in this podcast. She was just like, it was total cotton candy. She was just like on fire. It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. She'll give you an edugasm. Nancy Ruffner. I needed a me, so I became one. How to solve problems and fill gaps in healthcare by becoming the solution.
She is a Southern sassafras, and oh my gosh, I love her. She's just so real. You hire her as an advocate and watch out.
Yeah. So my word for Nancy would be like some kind of irony, like softly sovereign, because she's got that Southern approachable, whatever, but man, you don't want to be on the other side.
No.
And I love the trajectory of her life. It was constant and her own personal struggles, you know? So whether it was a personal problem solution or how she saw the whole industry, you know, that doesn't work anymore. I'm going to fix it.
Dr. Jim Varani, Curing Cancer One Wrinkle at a Time, a professor emeritus, lab rat riffs on the root causes of dis-ease in health, science, and humanity.
Global well-being, like global well-being for an individual, like your whole total, and global well-being for the globe. The whole podcast, there was so much to say, and it was so fascinating how he took the state of science and how it applies to the world right now, like what's going on in scientific method and in science and how it applies to the world. And then so fascinating how, because of corporations and how funding goes for lab research, you know, you can't get what really matters. You can't always get funding for what really matters to you, but he always found a backdoor in. A corporation hired him to figure out how to get rid of wrinkles, and he's finding out cures for cancer from that. Like, it's fascinating.
And just the idea that like, this is a man who's been studying and researching and in science for 50 years. Like, that's a really long time. Yeah. I mean, we talked to him for an hour and a half, and he was so disappointed that we didn't even get to talk about the liver. Oh, we didn't get to the liver.
I mean, talk about passion.
Yeah.
Like, he loves his work. And I love how he just stumbled on it too. It wasn't what he intended for his life.
He was going to go to medical school.
Yeah. But he thought, oh, this is really cool. I can do research on rats and with cannabis and smoke the leftovers. Yeah. Season 2 really like was a total up level, I think, because we were better at podcasting, but yeah, really, really fascinating guest. So pick one. Let us know what's your favorite. We would love to hear from you.
Good.
Enjoy season 2. Renegades.